I started using Khan Academy all the way back in 2013. And while it's gone through a lot of iterations throughout the year, the core of it has always been instructional videos and exercises that students can complete online. I've used it not only for the students in my math class, but also when I made the transition from teaching elementary school to middle school math, I actually went to watch some of the videos of this new middle school content that I was gonna be teaching, just to get some ideas of how it could be taught. Khan Academy has expanded beyond the realm of math, and now when you go there, you can see that they have science content, art and humanities, reading and language arts, and even life skills content. So while my example today is going to be a math class example, just about everything I share will be applicable regardless of the type of content you're gonna use Khan Academy for. Howdy folks, I am Tom Gibson of a new EdTech classroom where we show you everything you need to know about teaching with technology. So let's start by creating our teacher account. Click on sign up, join Khan Academy as a teacher, and use whatever method you like. I prefer using my school Gmail account. And if this is the first time you're creating an account, it will ask you what class you teach and what school you're at. If your school is not listed, then just go ahead and skip this part. There's no way to add your school to the list. So this is our teacher dashboard. If you're ever anywhere on Khan Academy and you want to get to this page, and click on your name on the top right, and then just click on teacher dashboard and it'll bring you right here. And so now let's create our first class. If you picked a subject when you enrolled, they'll have a class already started for you, or you can just go ahead and add a new class from scratch. Let's go ahead and add a new class from scratch. Enter your class name. I like to do the class and then the period, so pre-algebra first or something like that. And if you've got Google Classroom already set up with students, you can actually import those students into Khan Academy. Select the content that this class is going to be learning. You're gonna see with some of the math stuff, you see get ready content, which is a good warm up for students that may be entering these classes. But typically I just select the regular class. So for me, it'd be pre-algebra is the content for this class. Don't worry if you think you're gonna pull content from other sections, you'll be able to. They're just gonna present the pre-algebra stuff predominantly for you and for your students. So now we can go ahead and invite students to join our class. You'll also see a link on the bottom there to get parent permission to use Khan Academy. So if you're interested in that, especially if you teach younger kids, those resources are there. And if you are syncing with Google Classroom and your students are already in your Google Classroom, meaning you're not trying to do this before school starts, before your kids are in classroom, going the Google Classroom method is going to be the fastest method. And what it does is it emails all of the students in your Google Classroom with a link to join the Khan Academy class. If you're not using Google Classroom, you can just get the class link and then share that in an email to your students or put it up on your learning management system, or however is going to be the best way for you to get that link to your students. The students have to use this link to join your class. So I recommend actually using class time to ensure it's like, all right, I've got 10 people joined. I'm waiting for 4 more, waiting for 3 more, waiting for 2. All right, everyone is joined. When the students click on that link, they're gonna be asked to either create an account or log in with an existing account. If they are creating an account, I recommend they use the school email to log in. And if you click on sign up with Google or Apple, that's gonna be best because it's gonna be one less password that the students have to remember. They just go to Khan Academy and then click on log in with Google or log in with Apple if your school has that option. If your students are under 13, it may ask them to input their parent email depending on if you're a Google Apps for School or not. If you're working with students that either don't know their parent emails or you don't think that all the parents are going to check their email or not all the parents have emails, then I recommend using the last method where you actually create the accounts for your students. When you create the student accounts, you put in your student's name and it creates a username and password automatically for them. After you create it, you'll have the option to download the list of usernames and passwords, and this is the only time that you have this option. So I highly recommend downloading it, saving on your computer, printing it out, and always having a copy available, particularly if you're working with kids under 13 years old, because they are going to lose that little index card that you give them that says, this is your new username and password, don't lose it. Always just have it ready, or it's just gonna be super frustrating for you and for the students. Assigning content. On Khan Academy, you can assign videos, exercises, articles, or quizzes for students to complete. There's a few ways to do this. You can click on the assignment section of the teacher dashboard and then go down to assign and search through the content that you would like to assign. It's gonna be showing you whatever you said this course was. So if you select a pre-algebra, you see all the pre-algebra content. As you're looking through it, you can tell it's a video. If it has a play button, it's exercises for students to complete. If it's a pencil, and if it's an article or document to read, it's a little notepad. Clicking on each one of them lets you preview what it is. And what's nice is if you click on the exercises, you can actually scroll through and see all the different questions that the students may be asked. And at the very top, it says how many problems the students will have to complete in order to finish this assignment. It's usually 4 or 7. I don't think you can change whether it's 4 or 7. It just comes by default on one of those two. And you can also see what the student view of the assignment would be. To select the content that you want to assign, just use the check boxes off to the right, click assign at the top right, and if you're assigning any exercises, it'll ask you if you want to have the students do different problems or if you want all of them to have the same problem. I usually do different, so that way they're not all saying,
oh, I got that problem, the answer's 7.
Pick the class or the classes that you want to assign this to, as well as individual students if you're looking to differentiate at all. Set your due date, and the students can complete it after the due date. It's just going to be notated late if they do. And you can either assign it now, which the students will be able to see that it is now assigned, or you can say save for later. I don't recommend planning the next month and a half out and assigning everything that the students are going to do. If you want to get ahead, then go ahead and select your assignments, save them for later, and then slowly start to assign them as those dates approach so the students don't feel as overwhelmed. You can also use the search bar at the top if you want to search for something outside of the course content that you've assigned to this class. And so I teach pre-algebra, but sometimes I want to assign something from 6th grade math or 8th grade math. So you can search for the topic, or you can even search by Common Core State Standard, and then you'll see the different results of videos and exercises and all the different resources there are with that topic or standard. Once you click on one of them, you'll see a bar across the top that says assign, and then you have all of the same assignment criteria that you had on the previous page, just located here on the actual video or exercise or whatever it is that you're wanting to assign. To see all of your active and saved assignments, if you go back to your teacher dashboard under assignments, there's going to be a section called manage, and you can move between your active assignments as well as your saved assignments. The student perspective and experience. So from the student perspective, if they click on their name at the top and then click on learner home, and they can see their assignments by clicking under assignments on the left-hand side. Any active assignments that are not past the due date are going to show up right there on that main assignment page, and anything that is past the due date is going to show in the past tab. You are going to want to go over this with your students, because a lot of times the students will log in, they'll see nothing under current assignments and think they're good to go, not realizing that they've got a ton of past assignments that are overdue because they didn't even know to click on the past section. Past assessments will also show whatever score they had gotten on any previously due assignments. When students are doing the exercises, they're gonna have a page, and it's gonna be a mix between multiple choice questions as well as fill in the blank and a couple other types that are thrown in there depending on the content you're teaching. They put their answer in, they click check, and they see if they got it right. If students need a little bit more help on the problem, they can click on where it says stuck, and then they have an option to either watch a supplemental video about this topic or get some hints. Now, if they watch a video about the topic and learn it and then come back to the problem and get it correct, they still get full credit for that problem. But if they use the hints, they won't get full credit for it because the hints will lead them to the answer eventually, depending on how many hints they use. So if students get one wrong, there unfortunately isn't a restart this batch of questions option. I usually recommend students to still try the remaining problems, and then they can give it a shot again and try to go through that next batch of questions. But the quickest way to actually restart is students will generally just put a wrong answer in, it'll say that's wrong, and then they'll have to say, okay, let's just move on to the next one. And then they get to the end and then start over. The students can redo the assignments until they get a grade that they are happy with. Khan Academy will keep the highest grade that they get. So if they got an 83 and then they tried it again but got a 75, 83 is gonna be what shows up in the grade book. So this really is built-in differentiation, because I remember when I was in school, it's like, all right, everyone do 2 through 20 odd problems. And sometimes I was like, I get this after doing like 4 problems. Why do I have to do like 6 more? And other times I did need to get that practice and see more problems. Students are getting immediate feedback and immediate resources to help them as they are going through these problems. And if they get it pretty quickly, then they can do the 4 problems, get the 100%, and they're done. If they need more of that practice, then they can continue to get that practice until they get to the 100% or the grade that they're satisfied with. And on the note of grades, here's how you see the student scores. Select the class and then go down to assignment. Then on the assignments section, click on scores. You're gonna see a grade book, and across the top is the assignments, and down the left side is students' names. So there's quite a bit of data that you can get depending on where you click. And so if you click on the student name, you'll see all of their assignments, if they were completed or if they were done late, how many attempts they had, and what their best score was on those assignments. Back on the gradebook, if you click on the assignments at the top, it gives you a picture of how the class did as a whole on those problems. The left side shows the assignment questions, and you can see which ones most students got correct, and which ones most students got wrong. So if you see a bigger gray bar than a green bar, more students got that wrong than right. So if you click on one that more students got wrong, there's actually a really good opportunity to do a whole group discussion about this problem that a lot of students are struggling with. You'll see the problem in the middle with a lot of blank space, which if you're projecting this on the board is plenty of space to work out the problem. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the different answers that students gave and how many students gave each answer. But it doesn't actually show which one is the correct answer until you click reveal answer. So what I recommend is just projecting this up and then saying, okay, a handful of you said this answer. Does anyone want to say why they said that answer? And have that discussion, and then eventually you can hit reveal and be like, oh, that's the right one. Course mastery. Khan Academy really tries to instill mastery of topics in students. And just because a student did well on assignment the day that it was assigned doesn't mean they've actually mastered it. How are they gonna do in 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months after they first learned the content? To monitor this quest for mastery, Khan Academy has a course mastery system. You have the course that your students are enrolled in my case, it's pre-algebra. And students can see all of the skills related to pre-algebra and what their skill level is on each one. They may see no skill level because it's something they haven't attempted, all the way up to mastery, which is something that they have shown proficiency on multiple times over time. And so for students to actually monitor their course mastery, the teacher needs to create a course mastery goal. So from your teacher dashboard, click on course mastery and then placement. Create a goal. It'll default to the course that you set this class up, and you can select which students have this goal. I typically just have all of my students trying to get mastery on the course that we're in by the end of the year. So when a student logs in, they're gonna see course mastery under their class, and the first time they log in, it'll ask them to do a course challenge to see where they're at and possibly level up some of the skills right from the beginning. And so from there, they're gonna see all the different topics from this course and how much of it they have mastered or leveled their skills up in. And in math classes, they're gonna have an option for a mastery challenge available at the top to strengthen some of the skills that they may have already practiced, whether it was 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago. And once they try the mastery challenge, it's not gonna be available for another day. So they can't just be like,
I'm mastering everything today.
so this is built-in spiraling of content for your students, differentiated to them what they need, letting them move on from the things that they have mastered and giving them the opportunity to practice the things that they have not mastered yet. And it's gamified because students love seeing those levels rise for all of these different skills. Teachers can monitor the course mastery by going to the progress screen under course mastery on the teacher dashboard to get a glimpse of where students are at in their quest for mastery. So in my class, the course mastery is just something that students work on when they finish whatever we are doing in class. It's like, oh, I've got my assignments done. Okay, go and work on your course mastery. But I am thinking of actually implementing it as like a, 20 minutes each week. Everyone is working on course mastery and I'm walking through and seeing where kids are at and helping them as needed. I primarily just use Khan Academy for the exercises. I don't actually use the videos that much because I like making my own videos using a Wacom tablet like this, which is the exact same company that Sal Khan uses to make his videos. So if you'd like to make your own videos, check out the most affordable Wacom tablet, the one by Wacom. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video and over on the Wacom tablet review video.